It could be your father. It could be your mother.
I thought, how in the name of God's world am I going to do this, and how am I going to be able to do that? And I was just ready to throw in the sponge and give up.
It could be your child.
She would just kind of panic, and if the crowd was too large or too loud, she would absolutely freak out.
It could be a person coping with illness, an accident, or normal aging. It could be anyone who can't, for whatever reason, do the things in life they want and need to do.
I was going to do whatever it took. If I had to work 15 jobs, I was going to find the right program, the right person, the right medical team that could work with Marissa.
What does it take for a child to succeed in school? For a woman to regain her independence? What does it take for any person to do the things that help them participate fully in life?
Occupational therapy is really about helping people do what they need to do what they want to do. Getting up in the morning to get ready to go to school, go to work, and to be successful in all of those different places, in all those different roles that they play. That's what occupational therapy is about.
Occupational therapy and mental health enables people to practice the skills they're going to need to succeed in everyday life. Other people do a lot of talking, or they give them medication, all very important. But in occupational therapy, we say, okay, you need to balance your budget, you need to be able to cook. Let's talk about it now, go do it.
One of the things that I try very hard to promote with my students is an I can do attitude.
Before, Marissa was very volatile, very emotional, very high-strung, and as her brother would say, very mean. I noticed that Marissa was not forming her words or sounds. She could not really what was going on. Too much noise, too much was coming in, and she couldn't process it quickly enough.
This year we've been working particularly hard on having her use her environment and be successful here in the school. I'm seeing in the classroom where she's able to access her locker, where she's able to get herself comfortable with clothing, using the tools, the manipulatives that are day in and day out, the tools of the trade for a student. She's able to do that.
She's going to college, and she's going to do this, and she's going to have a black car, and she's going to do, and she's very confident in what she wants and who she is.
Occupational therapists have knowledge about the cognitive, physiological, psychological functions of an individual, but also we know about the environments in which people function. So it's how we blend the knowledge of the person and the environment to support the person in what they need and want to do.
We don't just look at the pathology or the injury or the acute accident that occurred. You know, we're dealing with the larger life issues, the larger global issues, and how that affects the individual.
I work in the senior community, and that's all that I hear. People want to remain in their homes. When I first met Ruth, she had just recently lost her husband to a tragic accident. She had recently had to deal with the loss of her vision. She also was dealing with some hip problems and arthritis, and she was severely depressed to the point where she was not able to function on a day-to-day basis or do normal activities. So how do we get her back in? We started looking at what is it that you want to do? Tell me what's important to you. And she began to identify getting out of the house, being able to socialize, getting from place to place in the community. These were all things that were important to Ruth. Having to learn how to use the transportation system so that she could get out, how she was going to do her grocery shopping, teaching her new techniques in her home on how she was going to cook, and be able to do for herself the things that she used to do with full sight. So we had to look at the adjustment with the low vision. We also had to come up with new techniques for safety in the home because of her arthritis and her hip problems. So we look at the environment, we look at the person, and we look at what they want to do, and we bring all that together to make it work and make that person successful so that they can age in place.
Thanks to the training that I received from my occupational therapist, I can now completely dress myself, and I am once again completely independent.
We really make a difference in people's lives. It's such a singular moment when a patient looks you in the eye and says, "You have given me my life back."
I think there's just a great potential in the air because now more than ever, people are ready to accept our message. Our focus is on prevention and on wellness. I think that's what the consumer today wants, and that's what we have to offer.
We carry that out by working with people in the community, doing the things that they want and need to do.
That's what occupational therapy is about, from helping people be successful in doing what's important to them.